Hi there, this is Joanne from TrueAuthenticPower.com from Tapping.me, and I'm also the creator of the program Catapulting to Confidence. I came across a comment in a feed on YouTube that I was looking at and reading through, and it was talking about NBA players and how lucrative their contracts are, and that they're the ones that make all the money and all that. And I have been watching a lot of videos lately about expertise and people who are at the top of their game. And one of the things I came across was this article that said 60%. Now, did you know this? 60% of NBA players go broke 5 years after their retirement. Now, why would that be? Obviously, they have excellence. Obviously, they can put in the work. Obviously, they know how to reach the top. Why would that be that because they retire, everything falls apart and they go broke? I heard another interview from one of the top NBA players, and he was saying that most NBA players come from broken homes. And so they learn the skill on the playground. They learn to push through all that by their skill level and doing what they love. He didn't say that. I'm saying that. I'm assuming that. But why would that affect your income? Why would you go broke? And I want to suggest I'm not an NBA player and I don't know NBA players, but I do know about mindset and the energy of it. And whether it's NBA players or somebody else who has had success or somebody who's trying to get success that they're being blocked all the time and they can't get to where they want to go, or you lose it, mindset has much more to do with that than you might realize. Now, why do I say that? When we are growing up, and if you've heard any of my audios, I talk about how important it is before the age of 7. If you grew up in poverty, we're always scratching to get by. It's gonna be lost eventually. My family can't be wealthy and rich, and we can't maintain it. Or once this stops, once this NBA career stops, I'm nothing. Or I don't know how to live with money. How do you deal with that? A lot of that plays into your success or your failure, and people just don't realize that. The impact of what you saw before the age of 7 gives your body and mind the blueprint of what's possible. Now, the fact that they can rise to the top makes my heart sad because you put in that much time and effort, that much grind, knowing you can be a top player. I mean, by the time, even if you're doing a crappy job at the NBA, you're still in such a high level of achievement. Even if you're not one of the top players, you still bypass so many other people. So you are a success on some level. Why would you lose all that? If they come from broken homes, if they don't know how to deal with money, no one's ever showed them how to deal with money, all of a sudden you've got this influx. And it's so out of control because you've never had it. So you want to buy this and you want to buy that and you're going to buy this car and that jewelry. And when I see some of the rings that these guys buy their ladies, I would have a different version of what that ring means. Because it isn't about love. It's about status. And I got to show her and I'm trying to prove myself and keep up with the other Joneses, you know? If you've got a lot of that intertwining into your energy, how can you rewind that? And this is one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about tapping into schools and teaching about mindset and how to use your energy and how to use your focus. Because I've seen what can happen to people who have the wrong mindset. I've had those struggles in different ways, whether it be money or family or, anything else. The mindset drives the belief, which then drives the behavior, which then gives the outcome. And when you start getting your mindset lined up, and we all have this challenge, everybody has this challenge because we're all programmed. We're all taught this is how it's supposed to look. Part of the job of becoming authentic, authentically you, authentically me, is what are my values and what do I line up with and what is it I really want? And how to use our energy to have those things start to be in our attraction, in our energetic attraction. So if you are new to energy, this may be all like, what is she talking about? That's a bunch of hooey. Well, I can tell you, I've worked with a lot of clients, and when they've changed their mindset, their world changes. Now, I'm not saying I have everything all figured out or that I have all the answers, but I do know that I have seen pretty miraculous outcomes. And I say the word miraculous. Does that happen to everybody? Well, you have to kind of clear up the things that are in the way. If you have a belief of this will never work for me, I can't have this, it's not meant to be for me or my family, or success will be painful. That was one of my issues. Oh my goodness. Every time I got success, I felt this wave of dislike come at me. And so I anchored success with pain instead of, this is amazing. I'm so proud of myself, because the shock outweighed the other side of it. So when people are in an influx and in a high vibe and things are going well, there will be a lot of people that clamor around, especially, well, maybe not especially, maybe that's one of my beliefs, but it seems to be when people have a big influx of money, there's another swirl of energy that comes around. How much can I get from them? You should share it with me. We're good friends. I deserve it as much as you do. You should be sharing this with me. You should be giving this to me because you have it and we know each other. I should have it too. And I've heard a lot of very wealthy people say that. People come out of the woodwork. If you don't have boundaries, this is beyond just the mindset of money, but if you don't have boundaries, you can be buying them a car and giving them this gift and buying that jewelry, and before you know it, boom, it's gone. In the NBA, you have a limited time to make money and have that money grow for you. And if you're not used to having it, if you're not used to being your own person with boundaries to say no to things that don't feel good to you, if you're raised to listen to what everybody else tells you how you should do, but something doesn't feel right in your heart, I think those things are very detrimental. Now, like I said, I'm not an NBA player, but I have seen enough proof of mindset that I know it's huge. I was really pretty shocked when I heard that it was 60% go broke. Can you imagine putting in all that time and effort, those years of practice, the years of sweat and injuries and pain and not feeling good and don't want to play and just having a tough time getting your legs underneath you for a game to win, to just perform on any level and in front of the world stage? I mean, talk about being in a spotlight. Yikes. And then to have gone through all of that and to lose it, I would be wanting to figure out, why did that happen for others before I would ever get into that position? Look at what they're doing. How did that happen? What was their mindset for those that have made millions, that have sustained their success, that have gone beyond basketball into other fields of success? There are clues that are left there. Now, it doesn't mean you follow exactly what they did, but what's their mindset? Listen to what they believe. It's not always just about hard work. I had some things come very easily when I didn't necessarily work hard, but I had the right mindset. So I know that's possible. I wish people knew this before they put forth all that kind of effort. It is so important not just to push and work hard, because all of those guys that went bankrupt worked hard. They put in the time, they put in the effort. So what was the missing piece? What did they believe about their success? Would it last? Could they make their money work for them? Would they even know how to do that? Did they follow other people when things didn't feel right? Some of the top NBA players who are multimillionaires said, I do what feels right in the way, like promoting brands, signing up with a company, aligning with companies. If it didn't feel right, they didn't do it just because of the offer. And that I know to be true, because I've done that myself too. It looks good on paper, but it doesn't feel right in my heart. So what kind of things have you done in the past? Maybe go back and dissect. What were you thinking? Who was influencing you? Did it feel right in your heart? Did it align with who you were? Were you being authentic? Or were you listening to what somebody else was telling you? There's a line between learning from others and gleaning and taking out the juicy parts that feel right for you and leaving the rest. Because just because they did 1, 2, 3 step this way doesn't mean that's what you have to do. It has to feel right for you in your heart. A lot of people, when I was doing sales a certain way, they were doing it a very different way, and I couldn't do it that way. It didn't make sense to me. So I kind of went on my own beaten path. And things kind of fell into place. Not kind of, they did. They fell into place. So, what are you believing about success or money? And if you got a big influx, would you be buying this and that and that and this and spending it all away just so that there's never enough? Is that one of your beliefs? There's never enough. There never will be enough. I just think whether you're at the level of an NBA income or any other income in between, the more you can start clearing out your energy from what doesn't work for you, what you saw that might be working against you, and revamp your belief system and your mindset, the faster and farther you will go than having to go years and decades, hit the wall. Now, all of that is part of learning too, so it's not necessarily bad, but boy, that's a hard thing. When you work so hard and you've got so much and then you lose it, you can learn from that too. But maybe you don't have to go into the depths of loss in the way that you're perceiving it. Everything that happens has a jewel. Everything, the good and the bad, has a jewel. And if you're hitting a wall and things aren't working, there's a jewel there that's trying to get your attention to say, maybe, what are you thinking about this? What did you grow up believing about this? And what would you rather have instead? Now, I personally use the tool EFT tapping. I am an EFT tapping coach. I've worked with a lot of clients that have turned their life around by using tapping and by programming in what you want. I know how beneficial that technique can be, especially when you're hitting the right pockets. Things can change dramatically and quickly. Not always. I'm not going to say across the board always, or that you always see miracles. There can be some stuck things that have a secondary gain or a benefit that you're not seeing yet. And that's part of the life lessons. I don't think everything is supposed to be necessarily easy in the way that we're taught and that problems are detrimental. Problems come with great insights. But would you really want to get to the top of your game and then have it all fall apart? Maybe you could do some preliminary programming ahead of time. Just a thought. This may not be for you. This may not resonate with you. But there are a lot of high-level people who have said that mindset changing really dictated their life in a good way once they figured that out. This is just a heads up. It's just another tool. It's just another insight. Use it or not, that's up to you. If it doesn't feel right, there's something else that will. What do you think about this? Have you ever had something fall apart and say, oh, I worked so hard for that. Why did it fall apart? Can you go back to that now and maybe dissect, what was I thinking at the time? What was I believing at the time? For me, when I got to high levels for me and people came attacking me for being successful, that was such a shock. I didn't see it coming and I didn't expect it. And that's what I linked to success. But there had been training before the age of 7. I will just say, my father had a real issue with people who had money. He had a real issue with people who had money. He wanted it, but because they had it and he didn't, or it seemed to come easily, he had all these negative views about money. Well, that was my early programming. Well, guess what? When I started getting money, I was one of the bad guys now. I had to rewrite what I had learned, unlearn what I had learned, and learn a different way. This might help you, and that's my hope that it does. These are just insights that I've learned along the way after some decades of what the heck is going on here. And if you can do that faster and sooner in your life career, your life path may be more flowy and easy. Not to say that you probably won't have any ups and downs, but riding the waves instead of getting sucked into the undertow is so much easier. So I hope this helps. Share some stories below. If you've ever had this happen, what were you thinking? Or what was your mindset? Or what were you taught about high-level success? Were you able to get it? Were you able to keep it? Is that even going to be part of your world? Is that even part of what you're capable of? Question those beliefs. What would you have to believe to be blocking it if you're blocking it? And if you've lost it, what did you have to believe that drove your behavior? What would you have to believe that drove your behavior that then manifested into the outcome? There are clues there. And I hope this helps. You know, if you like this kind of information about energy or thinking about it, or why would things just blow up? Like, what the heck is the problem here? Or a loop that keeps replaying. There's something there that's stuck in your energy or your belief system. And once you start clearing that out, I suggest with EFT tapping, and I have videos on how to tap and topics that include tapping. This isn't one of them, but you can learn to change that. And if you need help, you reach out to someone like me who's a coach with that can guide you in the right direction so that you don't have to struggle, or have it be hard. Just some thoughts. I hope they help. By the way, if you like this kind of energy tools, tips, insights, information, subscribe below. And until our paths cross again, bye-bye for now.